Hey there, so how screwed is Saudi Arabia right now? Over the past 4 years, the Saudi royal family, and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in particular, have lashed themselves to Donald Trump and his political fortunes. The Saudi government has acted out in extreme ways with Trump's encouragement, and they have over-relied on Trump's well-paid-for forgiveness for things like the brutal invasion of Yemen and the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. So now that Joe Biden is going to be president, does that mean that the Saudis are finally going to be punished for all of these actions? My sense is probably not. On the campaign trail, Joe Biden certainly had some harsh words for the Saudis. It's likely that human rights will be a slightly bigger focus in Biden's administration than it was in Trump's. But it's important to remember that Donald Trump talked a lot of shit about Saudi Arabia on the campaign trail too. Those who are hoping for a massive US-Saudi blow-up are going to be disappointed. But I don't think the world should be disappointed by this, because I think Joe Biden understands a central truth of US empire that always eluded Donald Trump. The US president can do far more with a quiet word than he can do with loud shouting. To paraphrase the usual suspects, the greatest trick the American empire ever pulled was convincing the world it didn't exist. What Trump ignored, but I believe Biden is well aware of, is that this subtlety is key to US power. For 75 years now, the world has run on the fiction that the US is merely the first among many equals, not the greatest imperial power the world has ever seen. The past 20 years of horrific failure have diminished this quite a bit, but behind closed doors, if the US government speaks with a united voice, it can generally force most countries in the world to do what we want. But we can't do so publicly, because if we humiliate other governments, then we force them to fight us. Rubbing other people's noses in US power actually diminishes US power dramatically. For the past 4 years, Donald Trump has provided a masterclass in what not to do. His ridiculous yelping about putting America first has been a tremendous gift to hardline anti-US governments in Venezuela, Iran, and North Korea, helping them all strengthen their regimes. Worse, 4 years of Trump has left our traditional alliance structure in open revolt, as insulted allies have joined trade groupings excluding the US across Asia and Europe. Biden probably knows better. A US president that is openly friendly and calm can actually accomplish a whole lot more. As satisfying as it would be to see a big public blow-up over Jamal Khashoggi or an arms embargo against all of the Gulf countries, I'm a lot more interested in what's going to happen on the ground in Yemen, or how quickly we get back to the US-Iran nuclear deal, or what happens to the Saudi dissidents who are actually still alive. The disgusting Trump-Saudi relationship has given Biden a number of things to hold over the heads of the Saudi government. He would be wise to do so quietly, at least at first. This has worked before. The U.S. relationship with Saudi Arabia goes back until at least the 1940s, but in the 1960s it reached a turning point. John F. Kennedy was less on board with supporting a medieval slave state than Eisenhower had been, just as Saudi Arabia's neighbor Yemen was invaded by Egypt, which was a Saudi rival at the time. In an October 1962 meeting with King Faisal, Kennedy privately made it very clear that Saudi Arabia had to change to continue to receive U.S. support. There was no big press release or public shaming from the United States, but Saudi Arabia quickly abolished slavery and engaged in a sweeping program of reform. Now, it's certainly true that the United States has fallen far from that peak of mid-20th century power, but Saudi Arabia has fallen even further. Talk of U.S. energy independence is a little overblown, but it's indisputable that we need less Saudi Arabian oil today than we have at any other point for the past 50 years. And the shock at Trump's somewhat lackadaisical response to the bombing of a Saudi oil refinery in 2019 makes it very clear just how badly Saudi Arabia needs the United States. So not only does Biden have a number of things MBS has to make up for, Saudi Arabia's geopolitical position is shakier than it has ever been. What this is an opportunity to quickly whip Saudi Arabia back into a shape that is actually useful for U.S. foreign policy. None of the pressure exerted needs to be public or at all embarrassing to the Saudi leadership, but that pressure needs to be exerted. Saudi Arabia and its legions of Washington, D.C. think tanks and lobbyists need to step right out of the way of the speedy restoration of the Iran nuclear deal. Even more importantly, Saudi Arabia needs to end its war on Yemen as soon as humanly possible. These objectives are much more important than some emotionally satisfying condemnation of the Saudi leadership. If these objectives are blocked, however, it becomes a very different story. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And if you want notifications whenever I upload a new video, click on the bell next to the subscribe button. Thanks.